says, hey, Shari. So here's the thing, folks. All I want to know is how many discrepancies, how many lies do we have to hear coming from Ballot Health and coming specifically from Alan Levine before someone else decides to intervene? Like, these are real facts. So I personally have seen two different memos, one specifically from Alan Levine and the second from a member of Ballot Management, telling employees that their social media and their posts are being monitored, and if they are seen posting negative comments, sharing negative things, or saying that these choices are bad decisions and that you disagree with them, but you have to do them because that's what Ballot Health says, you can be terminated. This is real stuff. It doesn't take much, folks. Yeah, a little bit of truth, right? Bullying at its finest. Candace agreed. Agreed. That's what I asked, right, Christina? So what happened today? What happened today was I shared some information that I had. Now, here's what's funny. You didn't hear any mention of who sent the emails. You didn't hear any type of specific information that would put anyone's employment in jeopardy, because here's what I promise. I promise that if you send me information that shows Ballot Health is either breaking the rules, breaking the COPA, threatening employees, if they are doing any of those things that are violations and you send that information to me, I am going to make sure that your information does not get shared with anyone else. My goal is to protect the people who are supporting this movement and who are standing up and who are speaking out. Tennessee is an at-will state, but first they got to know who you are. They got to know who you are. Like, that's a key. You know what I mean? They got to know who you are. They are. It is an at-will state. Well, here's the thing. You can't really run a hospital if you don't have anybody working there at some point in time. You know what I mean? You got to start to look at that. So here's what I'm going to say. I am not going to share. I do want to give you guys a nugget. If you are going to send me information, I have a secure encrypted email address. There are some things that I would recommend for you. I would recommend that you get one as well. They are free to set up, so that it's not tracked on your end as well, right? Because they do have the ability to do that. So if it were me, I'm not telling you what to do, but if it were me, I would take pictures of things instead of forwarding them. And I would make sure that all the pertinent information was there. And then I would send that information via a secure encrypted email address so that it's protected on both ends. Because even if they can't, get to my end of things, I would just want you all to be, I want you all to be safe and secure and gainfully employed throughout this entire process. Now, here's what's interesting, folks. At this point, they are on record saying that they will not fire someone based on disagreeing or posting something that could be perceived as negative, right? So at least there is that, you know what I mean? Shelly says they sent these emails out every time. Also, employee while I was working there got fired for posting on social media. So this is the thing, right? Things are starting to come out. People are starting to share and provide documentation, which is really important. Like, that's something that I said last night. Joe, I would imagine so, but I think that's up for an attorney to determine. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know for sure. Crystal, I have heard that some folks have said that they cannot be rehired for a certain amount of time. I don't know that that's standard, like across the board. I have heard about that in specific situations, but I don't know. Here's the thing that's very, very important, folks, okay? Here's what's important. Now is the time where you get really serious about complaints. So here's what I do want to know. I want to know how many of you guys, hold on, I'm actually going to create a poll. How about I do that while we're on there? Hold on. How many of you have filed a complaint with Consumer Affairs? Let's do that one first, okay? So, oh wait, let me say, have you, instead of how many, have you, there we go, that's better. Yes and no. Okay, you guys ready? So I'm going to give you this. And I just put so up at the very top of this, there's a poll going right now. So I want you to respond to this poll. And what this poll is asking at the top is, have you filed a complaint with Consumer Affairs? Please select yes or select no, okay? I'm going to keep going. So I want you guys to do that for me now. Keep doing that for me, guys. Yes and no. Let me see. So 42% of you are saying yes, 56%, it's going up and down. So what I'm getting is around 40s, almost 50-50. So almost like a 40-60 split. People saying yes and people saying no. So let me say this, for you folks saying no, here's what's really, really critical, okay? One of the things that Consumer Affairs has said is that when they start to get a high number of complaints from a particular area on a particular issue, that is when the Attorney General's office will open and start an investigation. So this is what happens. In last night's live, I put the link up for the Consumer Affairs link to file a complaint. I need you to use that link and use it well. I will tell you this, once you file that, it is a matter of public record, so do so wisely. But it definitely is there, and it is something that you do need to do, okay? So 7 out of 10 of you are saying, no, you haven't done that yet. Consumer Affairs is the avenue that we need to go through to make sure that the Attorney General actually opens an investigation, period. That needs to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close out of that poll. And the next poll that we're going to do is, have you filed a complaint with COPA? So COPA compliance, have you filed a complaint with COPA, whether that be Larry Miller or whether that be, Gary Miller, or whether that be Larry Fitzgerald? Please answer up above. Have you actually contacted Larry Fitzgerald or Gary Miller and filed a COPA complaint? That is incredibly important that you do that. Now, here's what I'm going to recommend that you do. I'm going to recommend that you document and ask for confirmation that has been received. And the reason why is in SB 2048, it actually stipulates that complaints do not have to be included in their reports to the public. So they can put out a COPA report that says they've received 0 complaints because SB 2048 allows them to do that. So ask for confirmation so that you know that you can prove you filed a freaking complaint. Because they are protected with SB 2048, okay? So it's about 50-50 split. We got 45. It's at the very, very top, Crystal. Do you see at the very, very top? It says, have you filed a complaint? So 52% of you say yes, 48% of you say no. So it's about a 50-50 split. 50-50 split. This needs to be 100% of you saying yes. Folks, you have to do these things. You can't just hop on Facebook Live and say ballot health is only about the money. Oh my God, there's such a corrupt organization. Like, you can't do that. You can, but nothing will change if that is all you do. You have to provide documentation. You have to file formal complaints. You have to send your emails. You have to do all of those things on a consistent basis in order to make sure that your voice is heard and that change actually does come, period. Got it? Has to happen. So, if all you want to do is sit around and bitch and moan, well, this is not the place for you to do it, because here's my thing, is this is necessary to make happen. Here's one thing that I want us to not do. I have heard about other things happening. I've heard about deaths that have taken place. I've heard about all of those things. What I will not do, and I didn't do it before, is I will not talk about those things until they are confirmed. And when I talk about them, I will talk about them in such a manner that is legally responsible to do so. Okay, so we need to make sure that we stop getting caught up in things that don't matter. I had a bunch of people asking me, well, is it true that they're remodeling a whole floor in Bristol Regional Medical Center for rich people to come and get treated by doctors? And here's my response to that. If they are, it's not illegal. If they are, it's not illegal. Now, it might suck. It might be pretty like crappy for the rest of us who are just ordinary people, but you know, rich people getting access to things that the rest of the world isn't really news, and it's not illegal to do so. So can we focus on the things that actually matter, the things that are COPA violations, the things that are ethics violations, the things that are conflicts of interest, the things that are legally questionable, where we can actually gain some ground and do something that is productive about this. That's where I want the focus to be. Don't let this be, I'm just going to bitch about, you know, things that I don't like. Make it be that you're actually going to dig in and change something. Like, be productive, you know what I mean? So I'm going to close out this poll really quickly. And when I close out this poll, all right, that one is done. And this one is another one. I want to know, have you filed a complaint with the Senate Ethics Committee? Now, why is this important? Okay, so part of this is real simple. Hold on. Boom. All right, so why is this important? Okay, so I'm going to go over how you file complaints, Megan, okay? And at the top of every live, like in my description, what I do when I get off this live is I go back and I publish all the telephone numbers, all the email addresses, and the links to be able to file these things, okay? So here's what happens. Okay, so let me break down FTC and DOJ. Let me break down all of this, okay? So why is consumer affairs important? Well, consumer affairs, when they receive a significant number of complaints about the same company in the same area, then that is what prompts the Attorney General's office to actually open an investigation. So the more people that we have filing consumer affairs complaints, the better off we are, okay? And when you file it, I even put the instructions on it. You have, like, it's a little cumbersome, but seriously, guys, spend 15 minutes and it might save your life. You know what I mean? So let's see if we can't do that. The FTC. Now, here's what I have said to the FTC, and these are the things that actually matter. So because our state issued a COPA, then it kind of took the antitrust availability away from the FTC. So what has to happen now is the FTC has to see that the state is not properly monitoring the COPA and that Ballot Health is engaging in monopoly. Okay, so Mary, if you got lost, reach out to me and I will help walk you through it. Maybe I can do this. I can have up to 100 people. I have like an online meeting, right? Like a meeting room, like a GoToMeeting or a Zoom meeting. It can hold up to 100 people at a time. So if it is helpful to you guys, I will actually go live on a Zoom meeting. I will post the link up. You guys can hop in and I will walk you through how to file a consumer affairs complaint. Would that be helpful if I did that for you? Would you all like for me to help you do that? I'm happy to do that. Yes, Virginia absolutely needs to file a complaint. All of my folks that are in Southwest Virginia, you are impacted by this stuff probably even more so than the folks in Tennessee. Because in Southwest Virginia, you guys, like Lee County doesn't even have a hospital, right? You guys have no trauma whatsoever. Bristol is the only trauma center and it's in Tennessee side, right? So the changes that are being made are significant and extremely important. Extremely important. So yes, you absolutely need to be filing these same complaints. So let me just say this, the complaint with the Senate Ethics Committees. So why is that important? Okay, so one of the positions that I personally have taken is that Senator Rusty Crowe has committed ethics violations several times actually, because he has been a contracted employee for Ballot Health since 2011. And so as such, he co-sponsored legislation, SB 994 and SB 2046. Those two bills together. SB 994 amended the existing COPA law. When that existing COPA law was amended, it allowed Ballot Health to exist and this merger to happen, which was a monetary gain that he would benefit from because the company that he has, Shared Health Services, puts their wound care units throughout those hospitals, and he's a contracted employee. So as a senator, you are not supposed to sponsor and co-sponsor bills which can bring you or your family monetary gain, which he definitively did do that, right? In addition to that, you are not supposed to sponsor bills or legislations where the government is involved. Well, seeing as how one of the things that Ballot Health is doing is they are billing Medicaid and Medicare and TRICARE, and they are actually like promoting Medicaid expansion. Rusty Crowe turned around and co-sponsored a bill about Tennessee TennCare, promoting safe regulation and safe usage of opioids for folks that have TennCare pharmacy benefits. So again, that is something that the government is involved in that will benefit a company that he is contracted with and gets money from. So these are severe conflicts of interest. So if you guys file these complaints with the Senate Ethics Committee, then it calls into question all of the bills that he has either sponsored or co-sponsored, including SB 2048. Well, if you get SB 2048 repealed, right, then that means Ballot has to be transparent with all of this information that they are currently keeping from you. Got that? That's why the Senate Ethics Committee is really, really important. Okay? So, hopefully you're all up to speed. So the FTC, here are the things that you want to be looking out for. If you know of people that have competitive services, so for example, home health companies, rehabilitation companies, hospice companies, people who are being treated at Ballot facilities, and then they are going to be discharged, those people are supposed to be given patient choice. They are supposed to be given the option of using facilities that are outside of the Ballot network. If you or your family member are being treated at the hospital and you are being to use a certain facility, if you are being told that you have to use a Ballot facility, if you request to see like what your options are, and the only options that you are given are Ballot facilities, that is information that we need to know. So you want to be looking at your discharge paperwork. You want to be looking at the things that you sign that say where your care has to go and what's being done about it, because those are legal documents. Those are things that are important. Yes, it is a big question. Okay, so let's talk about the Senate Ethics Committee. I looked up everyone that was on it, and I did have a couple of concerns. In my initial scan of them, hold on, I had one of the things that I was concerned about was Lamar Alexander was on there from Tennessee. Now, I will say this, he, from what I could tell, I couldn't find like significant campaign contributions for him yet. But I just started digging into Senate ethics yesterday. So that is coming. So what I will do is I will post a list of the folks that are on the Senate Ethics Committee for you guys. Because I started a list and there were some. So these were the ones that I was interested in. So Lamar Alexander, Tim Kaine, Bill Cassidy, Tim Scott, Tennessee, Virginia, Louisiana, South Carolina, all of those types of people. So the reasons why I jotted those specific ones down is because they were Tennessee, Virginia, Louisiana, and South Carolina. Well, here's what I know about history. What I know is that Alan Levine worked in Louisiana, Tennessee, Virginia, and Tony Keck worked in Louisiana, South Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee. So I was looking for states where I know those guys have worked. I know, like even this year, Alan Levine still gives campaign contributions to candidates that are in Florida and candidates that are in Louisiana, as well as Virginia and Tennessee. So I've just started to do a little digging there to see if there's any like serious conflict of interest. What's really, really helpful, and one of the reasons why I posted my complaint letter online, is because the more eyes that we can get on these things, you can't really cover it up that easy. You know what I mean? You can't act like these things don't exist when it's, you know, being shared 100 bajillion times all over Facebook. You know what I mean? So, and these are things that I have stipulated that are in fact, yes, I was. So there's two Senate ethics committees. There's Tennessee ethics and there's the US. So I chose to go the US route because I didn't, this is sad to say, I didn't really trust the Tennessee ethics route. So yes, let me do that for you. Let me give it to you really quickly. I'm answering you, Vicki. Yes, I will share it with you. Let me give you guys just the basic rundown. Now follow me. I'm going to give you this off the top of my head, so I may miss a few things, but I just want to kind of give you the synopsis and what there is to complain about, okay? So, whew, all right. So Ballad Health is the merger of Mountain States Health Alliance and Wellmont Health Systems. Those two hospitals were already somewhat integrated and sharing in services because of the community that we have in the geographic service region. What's up, Roland? The geographic service region that we have here. And both of those hospitals got into financial trouble. Now, let me explain to you that that is actually legitimate. And I'm going to share with you why. In this region, we have a poverty rate that is somewhere between 20 and 40%. So about 70% of the people in this region that have health care, 70% it's government health care. It's Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, all of those things. And that matters because with Medicare and Medicaid, you're oftentimes paid less for the services and the medications that you prescribe and the things that you do and the surgeries that you do. So hospitals either break even, they make very little profit, or they actually can take a loss depending upon if it's Medicaid, Medicare, so forth and so on, okay? So when you have a region like ours, Southwest Virginia and Northeast Tennessee, where 70% of the people are on government insurance, then what you have is 25% of the people that have like private insurance of some sort, private commercial insurance, and about 5% that are basically no pay, right? Which is, again, another loss. Well, that 25% isn't enough to make up for the other break even, the other losses. Now, I would beg to differ and be able to say, well, you know, maybe if CEOs weren't making $1.4 million, we could have a little bit of extra money. But I'm just giving you some of the insurance facts and part of the way that the hospitals got to where they are. Now, here's what happened. When these hospitals merged, when you do a hospital merger, there's a lot of concern if you control too much of the patient care. With this merger, the average, Ballad Health controls on average 77% of patient care across this entire region, which is very dangerous. It gives you buying power. It gives you leverage when it comes to hospital prices. There's no competition anymore, right? So if I used to be able to go to Wellmont and pay, you know, $100 for a service, or go to Mountain States and pay $200 for a service, I had choice, right? So that competition helps keep prices down. But now, if I only have one place to go, which is Ballad Health, because they control the majority of the healthcare in this region, then they can set that price at whatever they want to set it down, and there's nothing that I can do about it, which is why the FTC said, dear God, whatever you do, do not let this merger happen, okay? Well, the state of Tennessee said, oh, I think we'll do it anyway, and so did Virginia. And here's why they did that. Let me explain. So you have a lot of stuff that's happened within here, and here's where the complaints come in, okay? Senator Rusty Crowe has been a contracted employee for Ballad Health, like I said, since 2011. If you look at his Senate financial disclosures, he has been listing either Mountain States Health Alliance or Ballad Health since 2011. Well, Crystal, I would be very careful with that because I've heard rumblings that that HMG has a deal with Ballad that I'm looking into. So we'll see what happens, okay? But just hold on to that thought for right now. Now, and by the way, HMD still doesn't own the hospitals, right? Ballad does. Okay, but follow me. So Senator Rusty Crowe passed legislation or sponsored legislation that passed that enabled A, this merger to take place, B, the second bill. So that was Senate Bill 994. It was Mark Norris, Rusty Crowe, and Ron Ramsey, okay? Then literally the day before the COPA was issued, which was January 31st of this year, Rusty Crowe sponsored another bill called SB 2048. The reason why you all care about that is this bill is the one that allowed Ballad Health to keep a lot of information private that was supposed to be public because of the COPA, Okay. So, and that includes things like hospital closures, repurposing, you know, the elimination of services, all of those different things. They don't have to tell you guys. They literally have no legal responsibility to let you know. The other things that you should be concerned about is, like, they've only committed to keeping certain hospitals open for 5 years. After 5 years, they can close them down if they want to. Some of the other commitments, the things that they've said that they are going to do, the money that they've said that they're going to spend, the things that they are supposed to be building and doing and hiring for the next 10 years, they literally have temporary commitments. The goal is to get this thing into the black, get it looking good enough to sell off to somebody else, right? Make their money and run. That's just my opinion, okay? And the reason, so here's my thing. If you have the public's interest at heart, then you don't have to hide behind SB 2048. Got it? So that's the way I feel about that. So in addition to that, Rusty Crowe has also co-sponsored 2 other bills, SB 1227 and SB 2646, which I talked about on last night's live. I'm not going to go into a lot of deal. The bottom line is you have bills that are being sponsored and passed that benefit Ballad Health by a senator who is paid as a contracted employee by Ballad Health. That's a conflict of interest. It's an ethics violation, and it needs to be investigated and strings pulled, okay? Now, the Tennessee State Commissioner, the Tennessee State Health Department Commissioner, John Dreisner. So John Dreisner is the guy who says whether or not they get a COPA. Now, here's where you get a serious conflict of interest, okay? So John Dreisner, the commissioner for the health department on the state level, his wife, Jana Dreisner, is listed as Ballad Health's medical director of psychiatry for Dickinson County Hospital in Virginia. She also has a company called Shared Health LLC that has a telehealth contract with Ballad Health. So the commissioner, literally by agreeing to give Ballad Health this COPA, lined his pockets and his wife's pockets by default, which again is an ethics violation and maybe possibly like a criminal allegation. I don't really know because I'm not a lawyer. We're figuring that part out. So these are the things that we need to be concerned about. Your state and your representatives and your elected officials have sold you guys out. And now you have a medical monopoly and they are changing services that will impact you. So here's just a common sense question. I keep telling them, we might be country, but we're not dumb. So check this out. If Alan Levine says that the level of care that you are going to get at Holston Valley and at Bristol Regional Medical Center traumas is not changing. If he is saying, no, everything that you've been getting, you're still going to get, then why in the world would you give up a level 1 trauma designation? Why would you give up a level 2 trauma designation if the resources and the medical care is going to remain the same? That doesn't make any sense. If I am going to keep everything the same and keep spending the money, then why the hell would I give up those better designations? Answer, I wouldn't. And they're not. It's not rocket science, folks. When you are a level 1 trauma center, you have 29 specialties. And those specialties, some of them have to be on call 24/7. Some of them have to be in the hospital 24/7. And some of them have to be in the hospital and assigned to the ER 24/7. It just depends upon which specialty it is. That's what Holston Valley is right now. They're a level 1. Well, if you take them down to a level 3, they go from having to have 29 specialties to 4. So when you tell me that the services are going to stay the same, I say, liar, liar, pants on fire. I keep having to say that to you guys. Liar, liar, Ballad, liar, liar, pants on fire. It doesn't make any sense. Bristol is going to go from a level 2 to a level 3. A level 2 has to have 24 specialties, and then of course they go down to 4. So again, this is pretty much easy to see. Johnson City is the central location for the state of Tennessee. It is not the centralized location for the folks that we service in Kentucky, the folks that we service from Southwest Virginia, and then when you rope in some of North Carolina and Tennessee. So this is the real deal, folks. Holston Valley Medical Center is the central location for trauma. It's where it needs to be. I'm going to give you guys some more information when it comes to pediatric trauma, because you've heard him talk about that. You've heard him talk about pediatric ERs. I'm going to break that down for you on tomorrow night's live, not tonight, because I've actually done some more research and I have some more studies that I really want to dig into, because I want to have this conversation about our babies and our children. It sounds really good when you say we're going to build 2 pediatric ERs. It sounds really good when you say we're going to have a pediatric trauma center with all of these subspecialties. But that's really not A, what's needed and necessary for this region, and B, not even a plausible plan of action for this area. There's a way to accomplish this, and there's actually studies from the National Library of Medicine and the National Health Institute that back up what I'm going to share. So we're going to cover that tomorrow. Yes, Sandra, they did. Okay, so that's a lot. So can I tell you, well, do I even need to tell y'all about Bristol? Here's the deal. The mayor and the city manager did not want me to speak tonight at all. They told me yesterday that they wouldn't add me to the agenda. They kept me to 3 minutes and maybe 3 minutes and 20 seconds. They turned right around and right after me, they let a guy get up and talk about freaking baseball, Pirates baseball, for 7 minutes. But did not want to hear what I had to say. And I'm going to quote the city manager. Well, let me first quote the mayor. Here's what I was told by the mayor, that basically someone like me, you cannot get on the agenda for the City Council of Bristol, and these are her words, unless you are part of an organization that they have a relationship with. Follow me. If you are not part of an organization that the city council has a relationship with, you can't get on their agenda. Doesn't matter what you have to say, doesn't matter how beneficial the information is, they don't want to hear it from you. They made it very clear to me that they did not want to hear what I have to say. Now, let me give some kudos. Leah Powers, all day long, she came and talked to me afterwards. She's the one person who wanted to open the door and have this very legitimate conversation. So we did exchange information. So kudos to her, and I do appreciate her. The city manager told me this. Don't make me lie, Terry, because if I'm being honest, I wasn't really like thinking about her with her government name in mind. So I had to be very careful. Her name is Margaret Fierabend, Fieirabend. That's her. Because she proceeded to say tonight that concerns with the COPA and with ballot health were being handled by the state health department. And I had to inform her that she was incorrect. Because if you call the state health department, which I've done several times, you're either going to talk to Judy Connect, Jeff Ackerman, or Elizabeth Jones, and all of them are going to refer you to either Consumer Affairs or the Attorney General's office, or they're going to refer you to Gary Miller or Larry Fitzgerald, who are the COPA compliance officers. But she didn't know that. She was really telling everybody that they needed to contact the health department, which is going to be useless. They actually aren't the people who take the actual complaints. So at the very, very end, she gave me her business card and asked me to email her to tell her the right place for people to contact. No, thank you. You didn't let me do it in your forum. I'm not going to send you the information. Now, let me keep moving. The other thing that Bill Sora told me, the city manager, was, this is his words, we need to speak to Ballad first. We need, like, the proper thing to do is to talk to Ballad. Let Ballad tell us their plans. Let Ballad tell us their vision for the next 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and give us their reasoning behind what they're going to do. And I said, so you don't care if the information that they give you is a marketing plan with no actual substance. And I have report after report after report from independent sources that were paid who say they don't have a legitimate plan. What they have is a great marketing spin that sounds good, but you don't actually want factual information. And he literally said to me, not at this time, we don't want it from you. And after we talk to Ballad, if we want to hear something else, then we'll let you know. You know what? The struggle was so real for me tonight. Like, I was really angry. And he looked at me and he goes, does it make sense? And I said, I'm going to tell you, like I told you yesterday, no, it doesn't make sense, because you're busy saying you need to hear from Ballad Health. Well, guess what? Ballad Health didn't need to hear from you when they decided to downgrade your trauma centers, when they decided to stop taking hospice patients, when they decided to sell your anesthesiology CRNA department, when they decided to do all of those different things. Did they call you up, Bristol? Hell no, they didn't. You don't see them pumping their brakes to wait to listen to you. No. No. Jack Young left without talking to me at all. Chad Keene left without talking to me at all. Leah Powers talked to me at great length. Great length. Hey, what's up, Stephen? And so I have to give her kudos and some respect. The vice mayor, all I remember is that her last name is Denise. She also spoke with us as well. She spoke more with Tim Bradshaw than she did with me at the very end, but she did speak to us for a lengthy time as well. So if I have to give out props to anybody, it would definitely be Leah Powers. And then second would be the vice mayor, who is Denise. Now, here's the thing. So truth be told, right? Dude, I don't have to go to the doctor here. Like, I don't have to go to the doctor here. You all do. I mean, sure, I'm here because my family lives here. My mother lives here. My daughter lives here. My grandchildren live here. But I can promise you that if they got seriously ill, I would come here, pick their asses up, and take them to Atlanta where I live. You know what I mean? I'm here because this is wrong on a grand level. And there are a million people whose health care hangs in the balance. Vicki, I do not know. If she is, please let me know that information. What's concerning to me is just how incestuous this relationship between the state of Tennessee, many of its appointed and elected officials, and Ballad Healthcare are. This is a problem. And this is why I'm going to continue to speak. I'm going to continue to be loud, and I'm going to continue to try to get things done. What I need from you all is to file the complaints. File the complaints. Send your information to me. If you have information that you do not, that you can't say yourself, and you're concerned about your livelihood and you're concerned about your family, hit me up, send it to me. I don't mind to be your voice. She's a doctor's wife. Thank you, guys. This is the one thing about this community, guys. Everybody is either related to somebody or knows somebody. Like, that's a true statement. So somebody send that information, okay? So I'm getting ready to get off of here, but here's what I wanted to tell you guys. Bristol City Council meeting was a joke, pretty much. Except for, like I said, Leah Powers and Vice Mayor Denise. So it's going to be a long road. I need you guys to dig in, file the complaints, make the phone calls, make your voices heard. Keep reaching out to news organizations, both local and national. My job over the next 4 or 5 days is to finish putting together the file. I am in talks with a national news organization who has established an open line of communication with me and open a file. And they have said that I'm free to say that bit. So if you have information that an organization like that needs to be aware of, then I need you to give it to me. I need concrete evidence so that we have things to stand on, just like we did today. They've been saying for weeks and weeks, we're not threatening employees. And I was able to show them an email where they were in fact threatening employees. So we need more of that. So if you have that stuff, take pictures of it, contact me, send it to me if you feel led to. And I will. You know, Mark, I would love to have a conversation with you. You know, I saw your post about Jana Dreisner, and I saw that she contacted you afterwards, and then you said that the website was confusing and all of that sort of thing. And here's the bottom line. I don't care whether she's a direct employee. I don't care whether she's a contracted employee. What I know is she is paid by Ballad Health, right? So I don't care what kind of spin you put on it. You know, you could put lipstick on a pig and it's still a pig, you know? And I will be at Hawkins County, Randy, right? So this is the thing. We've got to start really looking at the spin that's being put on things and the way that data is being manipulated in order to justify things that make absolutely no sense. So Monica, I closed out the polls. That's why they say close now. But I appreciate you voting and for doing your complaints. Guys, it's going to take them being continuously done, repetitively done. Keep contacting, you know, news organizations, regional news organizations, national news organizations. Anybody who wants to talk about this, like literally, and this isn't even all of it, but let me just show you guys. This is the work. This is the work that I've done. These are the documents that I'm reading and pouring through. And like I said, this is not even all of them. They're burying you guys in laws and amendments and bills and commitments and contracts and all of that. Because if you look at this, it's easy to get overwhelmed and say, I'm just going to give up. But if you give up your right to health care. You give up your right to expect for people to try to save your life in a timely fashion. You know, like, this is what it takes, right? All you have to do is follow me on Facebook to keep up with me and the lives. Oh, and let me tell you all this. I did create a Facebook group. It's open to the public. You have to request to join it, right? But Mark, your statement went by so fast I can't read it. But so listen, I created this Facebook group, and here's what I'm doing in that Facebook group, okay? It is not a place to come and bitch and complain, okay? What this group is I have these documents, all of the documents that are public record, that I have dug up, that I have tracked down. I am putting either the actual document or the links to those documents in this private Facebook group, because I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want you to read it for yourself. I want you to know what's really been said about this merger and about what's happening, right? So don't just believe me, although why wouldn't you? But I do want you to see this information for yourself. Read it for yourself, know it for yourself, because that's when it becomes more real. You know what I mean? You're welcome, Missy. I do have a link, Terry. People had asked me how they could help me because of the time and stuff that I have done. So it's called, so I did create a link where you can send, and people have donated, and I do appreciate that because it has been a lot of work. So the name of the Facebook group is Citizens Advocacy Ballot Health. It is on my Facebook page. I posted a link to it. I will put it at the top of this live as well. So we're getting ready to round out this live, and here's what you're going to see. When I get off this live, I will put all of the numbers, fax numbers, and links for you to do your complaints. I will also put a link to where if you want to donate to me and to help me continue to do what I've been doing, I'm going to put that as well. And then what I will do is in the next, I don't know, in the next few days, guys, I will do what I said. I will post the link and a date and a time where you can get on my online web conference, and I will walk you through how to file the complaint with Consumer Affairs, because it can get a little confusing. So I will do like an online webinar. All you got to do is get on your computer, click the link that I'm going to give you. I can hold up to 100 of you at a time, and I will walk you through filing your complaints. Okay. So keep reaching out. Keep sending information. We've got some traction, more traction than I think they ever thought we would. So keep fighting, keep sharing the lives, keep sharing information, factual information, and all of those types of things. Okay. So appreciate you, Mel. So we're doing good work. It's going to take us a minute, but we're doing it, you know. Please follow me. I literally have over like 1,500 friend requests pending, and it's too much for me to dig through right now. So what I would really like for you to do is just click follow, and you will be notified when I go live. You'll be able to see the post about all of this stuff. But you have to get serious, and you have to get passionate about your healthcare and what's happening in your region. Don't let anybody tell you that it's too little, too late, because it's not. The COPA literally says that it can be modified or terminated at any time that the state determines that the public's disadvantage is greater than any benefit of this merger. So I need you to understand, we just have to fight, but this is not something that you are stuck with. You are not stuck with it. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't need to fight, or that you can't fight, or that it's just the way that it is. That's not true. It doesn't have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. So you all fight until it is not that way. Okay? All right. That is all I got. You guys are very, very welcome. I will put up all the links for everybody, and we'll go from there. Okay? That is a link, Sandra. And then I also have, so one of the things that I did, what's that, Tim? I did put together like a whole page just so you can see what this whole thing is all about, and what I am doing. That's my saying, Terry. So every time I end a live, guys, this is what I always say. I say, be amazing, be light, and be love. So hopefully we'll all do that. You guys are very welcome. I'm going to get off here, and I don't know, I still have some work to do for like my regular life. So I'm going to go. But take care of you. Peace out. See you later. Maybe.